78 views in 22 minutes.
Good, baby. It's because it was a great video.
+1.
You gotta watch all the way through, though.
Okay.
If you ever click on a video, it actually hurts us if you only watch it for a couple seconds.
Why?
Because that is all part of the algorithm that YouTube takes. So they'll see that you clicked it and left, which makes them think that we had a clickbait title or something, and actually hurts us. Fun fact.
Elliot's like, well, I don't know about that.
I don't watch
No,
any videos.
that's fine. I don't care.
Well, I've been a couple, but I don't know. If there's something I want to know about.
All right, I'm going.
Okay.
That's very audible. Just so you know, you're being louder than they are.
Okay, now let them fight.
What's going on, everybody? How's it going? How's the stream? It might be a little laggy, but we're just gonna have to make it work because my sister does not have the most usable Wi-Fi on the planet Earth. But we're here to talk about Spider-Man No Way Home. Let's try again. We're here to talk about Spider-Man No Way Home spoilers. So if you aren't interested in that or haven't seen the movie, you should leave because it will be talked about here. It's gonna happen. So just a little warning. Hey Chris. Let's see. I'm gonna be reading down because you guys are down here now. So hey Chris, sup man? How you doing? It's Taylor, aka Red Bull guy. How you guys? So I'm at the Spider-Man World Premiere, and Taylor is standing there outside the door waiting for everything to open up. And he comes up to me and he says, "You have a look-alike," and he shows me a image of Cosmic Culture. And I look at him and I said, "That is me." So thanks for joining back up in the live stream. And guys, we're gonna talk good details about Spider-Man No Way Home in this next hour. Usually this is the live podcast where we talk about all things major movie and television news from the week, but I really doubt much, if anything, is more important than the Spider-Man No Way Home release. I know people are dying to ask questions and talk about it, so get them going, get them ready. I'm so sorry for anybody in the Philippines, and the fact that you won't be able to watch it till January 8th. I'm sure the majority of you will have had it spoiled for you by then, and I am really, really upset about that. All right. So, what are your guys' questions? What are your guys' thoughts? Who loved the movie? Who hated the movie? Did anybody hate the movie? Because personally, I don't think that would be possible. I think the majority of people were big, huge fans of the film. Trying to run it. I think the majority of people. All right, cool. So we have a makeshift stream going on due to not being in my house. I'm home for Christmas, guys. I'm home for Christmas, which is awesome. All right. Whew. Jake, how you doing, my guy? I don't think that No Way Home is the best Spider-Man movie because Spider-Man 2 is the OG. Interesting. Spider-Man 2 is the OG best Spider-Man movie for you, you're thinking? And you don't think that this film topped that? That's an interesting opinion. I feel like the vast majority of people would probably disagree. I personally disagree. I think it will be hard to argue that any one Spider-Man movie was better than this Spider-Man movie because it had everything. It had all the characters, and none of them weren't done well. A lot of them were better. Electro was better. Green Goblin was better. Doc Ock was better. You know, Andrew Garfield was better. I think you could probably argue that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man specifically wasn't better, but seeing him after 20 years was so much fun, and the character had evolved so much that it was really cool to see how mature he was. And Tom Holland gave us his best performance yet. So with all of those different inclusions of characters becoming better and getting another chance, or Andrew Garfield becoming the Spider-Man we all wanted him to be in the original movies, I feel like it's just really hard to argue that anything would be better than that. Now, had they tried to do this movie and it wasn't good, and Andrew was kind of cringe, and Tobey was old and terrible, and Tom Holland was just a dork, and Doc Ock and Green Goblin weren't better than they were originally, then it wouldn't be that way. But everybody executed at such a high level, it's so hard to argue otherwise. For me, that's what I think. Jake says, this is the greatest of all three films, but better. This has to be the best Spider-Man movie. I agree with that argument. I personally, and it's opinionated, right? There are people who like other more simpler films, and 2 days before we went and watched No Way Home at the world premiere, I went and watched the original Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire's first one, and I love it. It's a great movie. So you gotta appreciate what you like and move forward from there. Dream Studio says, I actually sort of predicted Peter will be in control after Doc Ock steals the nanotech. Check my comment on your Jurassic World first 5-minute videos. Well, there you go. And yeah, we did talk about that. We did a whole video on the theory. Originally we all thought, oh my gosh, he stole his tech, and then later on, and I very much apologize, I'm blanking on who it was. Somebody in this chat had mentioned to me that maybe he was trying to control it with it. And they were both right. So he stole the tech originally, and then it turns out that he could pair the Bluetooth device and take over Doc Ock. So it was really, really cool how they ended up doing that. And it was, Doc Ock's a difficult character to control. So that they found a really reasonable way to do that. Andrew is the best Spider-Man. Jake, that's a good question. Who is your favorite Spider-Man now? I know a lot of people who really wanted to love Andrew but couldn't because of the quality of his movies have jumped ship and said, you know what, screw it, Andrew is my favorite Spider-Man. Who is your guys' favorite Spider-Man of all time? Just go ahead and tell me right now. I'm very curious. I feel like a good amount of people are going to be saying that it's Andrew. Mine's probably, honestly, Tom Holland. What was the best part of Spider-Man No Way Home? Oh, definitely the pointing meme. But on top of that, it was the banter. The conversations where everybody was sitting there just talking about being Spider-Man. They were sitting on the scaffolding at the Statue of Liberty, or they were in the laboratory, and they're just casually talking about their lives as Spider-Man, or to each other, or Tobey Maguire saying to Andrew, no, you're not lame, you're amazing. Those conversations, I literally could watch that for an hour. And they were really long, and they did a good job getting it in the film, but I wish it was longer. I loved all of that sequence, and I was really personally hoping we would get even more. But that was the coolest part of the film. And then, of course, the fight sequences, the original introduction of Andrew and Tobey in the movie, that was all really, really fun to watch. I really enjoyed that. All right, let's see what people are saying. Team Tobey. Andrew, Tobey, Tobey and Andrew, Tobey, Tom, Tobey or Tom, Tobey, Andrew, Tom, Andrew, Tobey, Andrew, and Tom. That's all of them. Tobey. Okay, Tobey. I don't know who said the most. We could do a poll. Let's do a poll. Hey, okay. Who is your favorite Spider-Man? Add option. Tom, Tobey, Andrew. All right, here you go. Ask your community. There's the poll. Somebody answer it. Somebody answer it. Can you guys see it? I don't actually know how polls work. I've never done them before. Oh, somebody figured it out. Tom is currently in first place with 39%. All right, we'll let that go for a little bit, and I'll check it back and see what you guys think. After No Way Home, it's got to be Tom now. Yeah, I think if you guys want to talk about the final fight sequence where Tom is just going to town on Green Goblin, that hatred, which grew on him faster than any other Spider-Man, Toby chased down the guy that killed Ben, and he didn't mean to kill him. He said in the movie even, I got what I wanted. He didn't kill him on purpose. He tripped and fell out of a building. You know? Tom Holland literally was trying to kill him. He even said him. He's like, oh, too weak to send me back to die. And his response was, because I want to kill you myself. And then he just goes to town on him. It was incredible to see. Jake with the 6 months, thank you. He says, I've always loved Andrew as the best Spider-Man. Not the movies, but his character. I appreciate the haters coming over, but we need apologies. Oh. Jake's out for blood. Jake's out for blood. Yo, Thomas is winning 45 to 28 to 26. Andrew's still in last place on my channel. Chris, do you think we will ever see Tobey and Andrew in another Spider-Man movie? I think it is very possible we'll see another Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movie, especially after, like what Jake was just saying, all of the people who talked crap about him for years now kind of saying like, wow, he redeemed himself. He's pretty cool. You know, after that, I think Sony being, and I'll say it openly and freely, kind of a greedy company, will want to capitalize on that. Because they're going to see people who want to see, you know, the whole conversation that was going on at the scaffolding when they're like, I'm lame, I've never fought an alien, I want to fight an alien. Like, that was really funny. But it kind of set him up to want to go fight a big bad now, right? Whether it's a Venom type character or a different type of big bad character that isn't just a rhino or a lizard, right? And that's what he says, I'm lame, I fought a rhino and a lizard. Comparatively to Thanos and other characters as well. So I think that Sony would want to capitalize on that. I don't think we'll get another Tobey film. I just don't think we need one. I think the character kind of got everything he needed and wanted. So I think that would be done. There was a rumor a while back that Tobey's actually going to be in Multiverse of Madness. I don't know how accurate that was. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. Aren't they all greedy companies? Yes, they are. Every company cares about money, and anybody who argues otherwise isn't paying attention to the big deal here. But let's put into perspective Sony. Every product they make has exclusive abilities. PlayStation 5. You can only play exclusive games on PlayStation 5. Sony's cameras. You can't go buy a third-party microphone to attach to it. It doesn't work. You can only use Sony stuff for their cameras. And with their lenses, they have one third party that they can use their lenses on that are allowed to use the E-mount. Other than that, you have to buy Sony's lenses. Like, they're such an exclusive company. Same with their TVs. The Sony TVs don't allow for Peacock or Disney Plus to be downloaded on them because they only want their stuff being peddled and pushed. So they rely on themselves. The fact that they even shared Spider-Man with Disney to begin with is an absolute miracle. And it was all because of Kevin Feige. And we know that whole story of how it happened. So I'm not really surprised by that because they needed him in order to make Spider-Man big. And I think everybody knew that. But Sony is an extremely self-driven and greedy company. And that's just how they are. So that's just my opinion on that. All right. Will Tom continue as Spider-Man? Yes. And although right now Pascal is redacting her statement and all of that, I think it was pretty much revealed by her. And then Tom Holland shortly after, when he said, yeah, I'm going to be doing another trilogy, that he will be continuing on. This next trilogy is clearly going to be his trilogy. He's going to go up against Venom. We're going to see all of that. It's pretty hard for them to deny it at this point. Kevin Feige last night confirmed to New York Times they're already developing the storyline for Spider-Man 4. And that's going to be Tom Holland. So, inside the MCU. I saw Rhino and Kraven, and I heard that Scorpion and Morbius are on the sky, and at the end, he is swinging to the place where Hawkeye Episode 6. So we could see a Spider-Man cameo in Hawkeye. Unlikely we'll see a Spider-Man cameo in Hawkeye, but it would be cool, just for the fun of it. But you gotta remember, the Disney Plus shows are about one thing, and that is the character. You know, WandaVision is about Wanda. Falcon and the Winter Soldier is about them. There were no big reveals or cameos. Loki was about Loki. And even though we met He Who Remains, the highlight was always Loki. So the Hawkeye series is going to stay about, you know, Kate Bishop, Echo, Hawkeye. They're not going to throw a huge cameo like Spider-Man in there because they'll take away from the character and detract from the series and what the series is trying to teach us. That's my personal belief. We'll have to wait and see. Do you think Tobey's too old to be Spidey? How old is he? I mean, he's got to be 45. Look up how old Tobey Maguire is. He's got to be like 45. I think he was 26 during the last Spider-Man film, and that was 15 years ago. So yeah, he's definitely Huh?
46.
46. What did I say?
45.
I was close. Okay, 46 confirmed by the back of the studio.
Andrew's 38.
Andrew's 38. So Andrew's not young either, and Tom's 24.
5.
25 now. Okay, he just had a birthday not long ago. Oh yeah, on October 1st, I think, or January or July 1st, something like that. So yeah, 25 now. So I mean, age is never going to slow down, and these movies take a while to put together. So by the time they get to an Andrew Garfield movie, he'll be 40. And by the time they get to a Tobey movie, he'll be pushing 48. You know, so yeah, they're old. They're not young. And I just don't think that that's going to be the plan. And yes, just like Jake said, smash that like button. Check out Twitter and Instagram down in the description below. If you are desirous to become a member, you could get some really cool exclusive emotes like the Spider-Man pointing meme, Deadpool, the channel badge, and of course Sonic. That's only if you are interested in those things, and of course if you haven't already, subscribed to the channel. Keep throwing your questions out there. We're having a really good time doing all that. I don't think I did I? Oh no, I'm gonna be so mad at myself. I didn't. Oh no, how lame. All right, thoughts on Garfield being the new Sony-verse Spider-Man? I think it's a good idea, but if he's gonna go fight Venom and then they're gonna have Tom go fight Venom, I think it would be kind of boring. Also, we know that Tom Hardy has one more Venom movie, and I don't know if that's gonna be Spider-Man. I feel like it's gonna be something else, because Spider-Man has to be like a two-part. That was the issue with Tobey Maguire's Venom. Not just that Venom was very poorly done, but it was so rushed. It was so quick, and this is a story you really want, you know. The Bully Maguire scenes and all that stuff, as much as it was kind of cringe, I suppose. It would have been better if he had more time to do it. I think so. I don't think I see Andrew going and being, you know, Venom's big fighter and proprietor, but it's very possible. Who knows? Do you think they will all unite again? No, I don't think we will ever see something of this caliber for decades. I don't think we'll see something like this for decades. Maybe with other characters, but something of this caliber, you know, they would have to do it with like Batman. That's the only character out there who even has the ability to do this. And I don't think the Batman actors are as loved as Tobey and Andrew were. You know, people love Christian Bale or Ben Affleck or all of them, but it just wouldn't be as iconic. Spider-Man was more of a meme, which is how you talk to people in this day and age. It's how you generate excitement. You know, the fact that every advertisement on television isn't a meme is a travesty, and people need to wake up and start doing stuff like that. Batman doesn't have that power that Spider-Man has, but we'll have to wait and see overall. Elliot Rosser with the dab. Thank you. Ooh, somebody got timed out. Ooh, somebody being a bad boy. Thank you, Jake, for taking care of business. Do you think Spider-Man 4 will change Spider-Man MCU forever? I feel like it will, because no one knows Peter Parker, and it really impacts the MCU. With no MJ or Ned, it will be very different. So I was talking about this in my video yesterday, the 10 things we learned from Spider-Man No Way Home. I think Ned and MJ are here to stay. I think he'll end up getting back together with MJ and Ned. They're going to go to the same college. They're going to meet. They're going to end up talking again. There was too much potential with Ned, you know, potentially becoming Hobgoblin, which I don't personally want to see, but also being able to be a pretty powerful sorcerer, it looks like, who can open portals without any training whatsoever, which, you know, people would argue is kind of a plot hole. Like, how is he able to do that? My argument would be he's just a super powerful sorcerer who's capable of doing it, obviously knows who Doctor Strange is and a little bit about how magic works if he studied it. Like, that's completely possible. But I'm going to argue and say that they're not going to introduce all of that just to get rid of the characters. So I think we'll be seeing the characters again. What do I think in whom that piece of paper Venom symbiote will be going in? I didn't understand your question. I'm sorry. Rephrase it. Do you think Peter will be with MJ again? Yes, I just said that. So Venom was transported back to Sonyverse. So much for being hyped about him being in the MCU. Yeah, so I'm curious who Venom will be. And I'm also curious about whether or not the MCU Venom is going to be the same as the Venom from the other universe. Like, is it going to be the exact same Venom, or will he be different? Because you have to remember, Carnage came from the blood of Eddie. So he was a part of the Venom symbiote. But he was still very different. So I wonder if Venom's going to be exactly the same, or if he's going to be a completely different Venom altogether. And then I wonder who Eddie Brock is going to be in the MCU. Because obviously he's going to think, I'm going to go find Eddie. You know, and whether he starts off going to find Eddie, or if he tries to pair with Spider-Man and then ends up going to Eddie. Hello. This is Zorro. Just jumped right in front of me and took my train of thought. But yeah, there's an Eddie Brock probably somewhere in the MCU. I presume he's gonna go try to find him, or he'll just pair with somebody. Who's my favorite Spider-Man? It has to be Tom Holland. I loved Andrew. I think he did a great job. I've always loved Tobey. But Tom Holland, Spider-Man really is just a complete package, and I find it hard to argue otherwise against that. Wouldn't Doctor Strange still know Peter is Spider-Man, and he could at least tell Happy or the Avengers Spider-Man? Well, he said himself that he doesn't. He doesn't know who... He said to him specifically that he wouldn't know who he was, right? So, is there still potential for Amazing Spider-Man 3 and Spider-Man 4? Yes, there is. I would bet a Spider-Man 3. I would not expect a Spider-Man 4. Hey Chris, how's it going? Face Master, how are you doing? How you doing? I actually like the ending. It was authentic. Spider-Man is now all alone in New York City and has no one left. Just like the original 2 Spider-Man in the past. Exactly. And I think that was really cool to see. And it was an awesome opportunity to appreciate Spider-Man is alone now. And let's talk about that suit. That is the coolest Spider-Man suit ever made for any Spider-Man ever. Ever. You're not going to change my mind. The suit is spectacular. He doesn't have access to Stark Tech anymore. He can't make the fancy fabricated circuit suits anymore. You even saw in his apartment he had broken out the old sewing machine. And he made that one completely by himself. So that was a blast to see, and I'm really excited. I presume in Spider-Man 4, it's going to open up with that suit. So absolutely, just ridiculously excited to see what happens with that. What is happening? My gosh. I am so annoyed right now. My computer's being a dummy. And I can't do anything about it. All right, 1 second, guys. I got to reload my chat. It's not, Safari's not opening anymore now. 1 second, I can't read your guys' chat, so just calm yourself down. Spam emotes or something. I need your iPad. I'll get back to you in a second. I just gotta restart my computer.
You're good, you can keep it.
My computer's froze. I can't do anything. That's so annoying. All right, guys, 1 second. My computer's completely froze. Snapped away. I'm back. Just put Zorro up for a little bit. I'll take a break. All right, guys, give me half a second. My computer's frozen and I'm annoyed. I don't even know how to restart it. Can you come do something with this? I'm really disappointed that Harry didn't show up in the final battle. There was no surprises in the movie, and I expected some to be. You can get this movie spoiled and still enjoy it. Yeah, I don't know. I still had a blast. I feel like it's hard to not. Just try to reset it somehow. What's my verdict on the movie? I thought the movie was perfect. My mind hasn't changed on that. I really, really, really enjoyed it. Snapped away. Thank you for the super chat. Saying, Toby, no doubt, my back. Hey, some people still appreciate the old memes. The old ways. Do you think Flash will become Agent Venom in the future Spider-Man films? I mean, it's a possibility. And maybe that'll end up happening now that Venom's over in the MCU. I don't know how much I care if he does or doesn't, to be completely honest with you guys. Sorry if I'm a little slow trying to get my computer fixed. I'm scrolling through messages now. Do you think Spider-Man will fight Kingpin, Kraven the Hunter, and more in Spider-Man 4? I have no clue who the bad guy in Spider-Man 4 is going to be. But I am curious. I mean, Venom. But I am curious to see how it all plays out. Why didn't Peter ask the Doctor Strange to cast a spell to make everybody forget about Mysterio and whatever he said instead? That would have been a lot easier. That would have been a lot easier. Yes. People asking dumb questions even though they're all answered in the movie. Yeah, that's, I cannot say your name. Pepe Game Master Dude. Pepe Game Master Dude. I agree with you on this. Every single question that I had was answered in the film, except a couple. But even those questions have answers. Like, there's not really anything I could sit there and be like, well, why didn't this happen? It all made a lot of sense. It was all very well explained. What year do I think Spider-Man 4 will be out? Oh, I think it'll probably be 2023 or 24. Anytime Andrew talked about his past or remembered of it, I cried. When he said he stopped pulling punches, I thought he went dark and killed some people. Is that likely? I mean, it's possible. Spider-Man seems to have this conundrum where he forgets his identity for a while, but you have to remember one of the most important parts of being Spider-Man is being Peter Parker. And Peter Parker is selfless and always puts other people before himself, even though usually it screws everything up and causes problems, just like in No Way Home, right? People say, oh, how could Tom Holland do something so stupid as to try to save these characters? Because that's what Spider-Man is Peter Parker. And Peter Parker is a giving, caring, almost blind character in an ignorant sense to what bad guys are, because he sees the good in everybody. And that's an important thing to remember. Is Doctor Strange the Multiverse Madness continue with Spider-Man No Way Home a little bit? Yeah, definitely a little bit. To some extent, 100%. I don't know how much of that we're going to see or hear or talk about, but there will be a discussion of Doctor Strange's spell. We'll see probably some scenes of the other bad guys coming back, and maybe some repercussions of them getting changed and going back to their universes as well. Did it annoy you that Flint Marko was refused footage from Spider-Man 3? I don't know specifically about that, but I do think that he didn't really get as much screen time as I would have liked. The character overall is probably more boring than most of them. But like at the end when they all sparkled and went back to the universe, we didn't even see him return. Like once he got turned back into regular Flint Marko, that was the end of it. We didn't see anything else after that. So, do I think any Stan Lee autographs? I don't have any Stan Lee autographs. That'd be super cool. They have a gold Millennial Funko Pop for Stan Lee. It's all gold. I want one of those signed by Stan Lee. I'm sure they're out there, and I'm sure they're very expensive. Dickie. All right, here's another cat. This is Felix. You guys know Felix. He cut me in the face. Him in a new house, so he's a little bit excited at the moment. Am I excited for Christmas? Of course I'm excited for Christmas. You know why? Because that's my birthday. Ooh. I hit them with that reverse card. The monster that appeared on Doctor Strange was Shumagorth, or was it another monster? It was another monster, whose name I cannot remember right now. He only appears in the comic 2 times. It's not Shumagorth, though. It is not Shumagorth. How can Toby shoot webs from his hand, not Tom and Andrew? They were just built different. That's my response to that. Toby is built different. 100%. And that's just how it is. The multiverse allows for different things to happen and different characters change. Gargantus, thank you so much. Yeah, that's Gargantus. So Gargantus appears 2 different times in the comics, and the first appearance was way back in like the 70s. He actually directly correlates and connects to Namor. Not Neymar. Namor. Neymar's a Brazilian soccer player. Namor is the Atlantean mutant. And there is a direct correlation and connection to him from his time in the comics. So definitely kind of cool. Yo, y'all behave or Jake's going to get rid of you forever. Not forever, but he'll give you a little time out and I'll laugh. I'll go ha 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 ha. Because I trust Jake. Jake know what up. I can't stop thinking about the ending of No Way Home. I really had a lot of concerns about the ending like Spider-Man 4. Will this because the end, will this spell last forever? You can't ask yourself questions that don't have answers to them. 1, because a lot of those answers will come to us eventually. And 2, because you can't always have answers to stuff like, will the spell last forever? Like, who knows, right? It's not something to ask yourself. Don't let you ruin a movie by something that really doesn't even matter. Ned as Hobgoblin in the future, Sexy Boy asks. I hope not. personally don't want to see that. I hope he just becomes a sorcerer or something. I don't want him to be. They never listen, Jake, but that's why you're here. You do a good job. Do I think Ned will still remember he can open portals after his memory was erased of Peter? You know, that's a good question, actually. I actually like that question, because all of that did happen. But maybe because it happened with Peter and for Peter, he'll forget it. But I feel like there has to be a way for them to break through that spell and still remember, and that's probably what's going to happen. Ned's going to get approached by Doctor Strange, or something will happen that will cause him to remember, and then MJ's going to remember, and it's going to be the whole thing. Is there a site to watch the new Spider-Man movie on? Potentially. Oh no, Jake, we're losing you. Y'all still have to behave. Jake left, but you have to be good. Do you think Doc Ock died again when he went back? I don't know, and I hope we'll get a answer to that, because it is a little strange, a little Doctor Strange, but we'll have to wait and see. Now waiting for Supreme Doctor Strange. Yes, we are. What's it doing?
Trying to get on top of a TV that's literally less than an inch thick.
Oof. Do you honestly think it was better than Endgame, as you said in your review? Because in my opinion, it's not as great as Endgame. So here's what I'll say about that. I had a more fun experience watching Spider-Man than I did Endgame. Endgame was a lot. It was a ton to process. There were a lot of characters. A lot of characters didn't get a ton of screen time. And it was ambitious and huge. And I don't think it was too ambitious. And it was definitely a success. And I loved it. But this was easier to enjoy. The two times I watched it, one time at the world premiere with 700 people, all just absolute Spider-Man fans screaming behind me because I was like in the front. And the second time in the theater, which was full of Spider-Man nerds, and we had a great time. And they were screaming and belting and clapping, and it was an amazing cinematic experience. And that affects how I feel about the movie. Because when I think back, I literally just have a big smile. I had so much fun watching it 2 times in a theater. People roaring and screaming and clapping around me. And that happened in Endgame a couple times, you know, during the Avengers Assemble scene and the scene where all the people came through the portals and the big snap of Iron Man. People were speechless and the crowd was silent. But my overall experience with Spider-Man was more fun, and that's kind of what I'm basing it off of. So I didn't understand the last scene with Happy. He knew May through Spider-Man? I don't know. So you gotta appreciate that the spell causes things to change. How did Happy meet May? Through Spider-Man. So Spider-Man, people still remember who Spider-Man is. He still exists. People didn't forget who Spider-Man was. Everybody forgot who Peter Parker was, which is a different identity. So you can know who Spider-Man is and not know who Peter Parker is. And Happy met May and knew who May was. The Avengers all know who Spider-Man is. So Spider-Man can still work for the Avengers. Nobody knows who he is. Nobody knows how to contact him, maybe. But they still do know who he is. Taylor says, thinking of going again next week. Y'all want to go and get lunch. My treat. Side question, how do you think they will top No Way Home with the new trilogy? What would you like to see happen? I'll let you know on Instagram about that. But let me answer your question. What would you like to see? Wait. My treat. Side question, how do you think they will top No Way Home with a new trilogy? You know, that's a really, really good question, Taylor. And thank you for the super chat and supporting the channel and everything. Taylor's a cool guy. Fans need to realize something. Like all of you guys. I have 200 of you in here. So listen up. Not every movie has to be better than the last. You cannot go into Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings and expect it to be better than Avengers Endgame. Or Avengers Infinity War. You know? You cannot go into Thor Love and Thunder and expect that to be better than these huge team-up projects. Like, oh, how is Marvel going to beat Spider-Man No Way Home? Like, honestly, they might not. And that's okay. Every movie doesn't have to be the best movie ever. You know? Some movies just need to be cool or introducing new themes or characters or ideas or theories. Every movie cannot be Spider-Man No Way Home. So we have to appreciate Spider-Man No Way Home when it comes out. Because this was 20 years in the making. 20 years of Spider-Man movies in 3 different franchises, and then the entire MCU behind that. It was a very special collaboration and culmination, creation, and every other word that starts with a C that I can think of. to bring this moment, this 2 hours and 28 minutes together, where we sit there and go, oh my gosh, that just happened. You can't just make that happen out of thin air. That takes years of cooperation and collaboration. And we're decades away from seeing a movie like this again. 100%. You know, it took 15 years to make Avengers Endgame. And when somebody went to the theater and watched Iron Man the very first time, nobody knew that that's where we were headed. I don't even think Marvel knew we were headed that way. Disney didn't know we were headed that way. So we're just going to have to be patient. We have to enjoy the films for what they are and see what they're trying to introduce. That's my thoughts on that. I want Spider-Man 4 to have Black Cat and Venom in it. If done well, I think Black Cat could be a great character. What do you think of that? I think that's a good idea, and I definitely think that they need to find a new direction to go for Spider-Man. This new trilogy isn't going to be the home trilogy at all. It's going to be something completely fresh and completely new. So new villains, new stakes, new everything, and I think it is going to be a blast. Did the villains die or live on the other universes? You know, the assumption is that they lived. And the consequences of that have yet to be seen. Maybe we'll see them in Multiverse of Madness. We're going to have to wait and see about that. Is the implication that the spell makes everyone in every universe forget who Peter Parker was? Or also... So I think the implication is it was just in that one universe. Because all of the bad guys were trying to come to that universe. Right? So if all the bad guys forget who Peter is in that universe, then... yeah, that's fine. That's my understanding. No joke, was Holland Spider-Man not close to Uncle Ben? The MCU Spider-Man doesn't acknowledge him. Yeah, I don't know that necessarily there was really one. Like, maybe Ben died before Peter ended up living there. You know, Ben still died, but he didn't die because of Peter. He died before, and that's why Aunt May is single and dating happy and doing other stuff. And maybe he never knew Ben, and that's why Aunt May had to die and had to say the line, because that was a absolute point where somebody has to say, great power comes great responsibility, and then die 4 seconds after. So somebody had to do it, and since Ben was already dead in the MCU, it had to be Aunt May. Elliot Rosser says, haha, haha.
Someone asked a funny question.
What was the question?
Is your cat the same cat who broke Nick Fury's eye?
Is Nick Fury? Yeah. Somebody commented on my video I did 2 days ago where I didn't have glasses on, and they said, you're about 2 inches from being new Nick Fury. And then I cracked it. It's pretty funny. Yeah, no. So I was dead asleep, and he decided it was time to play, and he jumped on my face. So it was out of love, but yes, I was about 2 inches from being Nick Fury, and that would be a meme I don't think I could live with. I would have to just end it all. I couldn't be Nick Fury. We go on for years about, how did Nick Fury lose his eye? And it ends out it was an alien scratched his face while he looked like a cat. I don't know if I could deal with that. Do I think Spider-Man will be in Hawkeye? No. What other Spider-Man villains do you think will come in the future besides Venom? How did Venom recognize Spider-Man? I mean, Doctor Strange has already done the spell and no one knew Spider-Man. That's an awesome question. So let's answer it. In Venom Let There Be Carnage, I think it was during the post-credit scene, they're laying on the bed talking about it was during the post-credit scene, before they got switched into a different world. Eddie's laying down on a bed with Venom, and Venom's telling him all of these secrets about outer space. And he said there's millions of years of hive knowledge. So somewhere in the millions of years and eons and universes of hive knowledge, somebody knew who Peter Parker was. And that connects to Venom. So Venom knew who Peter Parker was through all of the hive knowledge, maybe not directly on the top of his head, but his consciousness knew who Peter Parker was, and that allowed him to come and be part of the MCU. It's a fantastic answer because they talked about it specifically in the post-credit scene of Venom Let There Be Carnage, right before they got translated over to the MCU. Pretty Cyber, thank you for the super chat. Will Sable show up? Not that I know of. I've heard zero about that. I apologize for that. I don't know. I actually don't know, so I'm just going to be honest about that. Thank you for the super chat, and thank you for letting me know. Or asking, I suppose. Aaron, how you doing? Do I think Darkhawk is coming to the future of the MCU? I think any character that Marvel can get their hands on and can create a decent story around will be coming to the MCU within the next 20 years. That's what I think. I mean, we're getting Captain Britain. Like, if they're out there, they're making their way to the MCU somehow or another. When Venom left part of... Sorry, 1 second, John. When Venom left part of him in this world, whoever gets it, will he turn into because Carnage was made out of a piece? Yeah, we were just talking about that. I don't know. I kind of hope he just remains Venom. Maybe because it's like a specific piece of Venom, he'll just be Venom. But you are right, Carnage was taken from Venom and was a completely different character. So I don't know how much of that was because it was fused by Woody Harrelson's character eating the blood, or how much of it was something else. Did you notice when Electro mentioned Miles Morales? Of course I did, and I thought that was a really fun way of them doing it. He's like, hey, you're a nice kid, you got a nice face, you live in Queens, you help other people, that's really cool. I just thought you'd be black. And then Andrew Garfield his response is, I'm sorry. I love it. I think it was so clever. And then Electro obviously goes on to say, that's all right, somewhere out there's got to be a black Spider-Man. And that was 100% a Miles Morales reference. Unfortunately, my assumption is that Sony's going to try to do the Miles Morales movie themselves. Like their own Miles Morales live action. I don't think he's going to be in the MCU, even though they've teased him and mentioned him several times in the MCU now. I mean, Donald Glover was his uncle in Spider-Man Homecoming. So I think it's unlikely that he's going to be in the MCU. I think Sony's going to want to try to make a very successful Miles Morales live action movie on their own so they can just keep all the money and have all of the glory. Because I think all of us are sitting here giving Disney most of the props for this movie, just to be honest. Hey man, what would you do for the next trilogy of Spider-Man if you were in charge? I would want a 2-part Venom fight. I would want to bring MJ and Ned back. I don't want to get rid of those two characters. I actually really like them. I know a lot of people don't necessarily like Ned because he's a goofball, and a lot of people don't like MJ because she's so stoic. But I do. I like the dynamic they bring to Tom Holland's peppy, upbeat optimism. I think Ned's hilarious, even though he's obviously like a comedic relief. But he also has potential as a future character now that he's a wizard. So I'd like to see how all of that plays out. I want a 2-part Venom movie. One where Venom is Spider-Man and one where Venom is Eddie Brock. So I don't know what their plan is specifically. I just can't wait to see more of that suit we saw in the final scenes. Thoughts on the new suit, rate it 1 to 10. It's my favorite Spider-Man suit of all time. We didn't get a really cool look at it, unfortunately, but from what I saw, it's glorious. It is absolutely spectacular. So 10. Think this farewell for Tobey and Andrew, or will there be some continuation? I would like to see maybe an Andrew Garfield movie. I don't want to see another Tobey movie. I think we can put Tobey to bed. He's 46 years old, which will make him almost 50 by the time they do another movie. I think it was so great to see him. He told us he was with MJ and it was complicated and that he's happy. He coached the other two Spider-Men. I just don't think we need any more from him for that. Do you know how Darkhawk character from the... Do I know how Darkhawk character... I know of, I don't know how. I don't know what your question is, so I'm going to say yes, I know of the Darkhawk character. So basically, Aunt May was Tom's Uncle Ben. Yeah, that's the understanding, and we're going to get the animated Spider-Man freshman year series on Disney+. If you haven't heard about it, it's an animated series, but it's going to be canon to the MCU, and it's going to depict Tom Holland's Spider-Man's freshman year. So it's going to be his origin story, how he became Spider-Man. I think there we'll find out whether or not there was no Uncle Ben, or if Uncle Ben had died earlier, or broke up with Aunt May, whatever. Uncle Ben was an abusive jerk, and he and Aunt May got a divorce, and that was before he lived with her. But yeah, it seems like Aunt May was his Uncle Ben. The absolute point in time, which we learned in What If, was that somebody says to Peter, somebody very close to him, usually Uncle Ben, with great power comes great responsibility, and after they say that, they die, and it's Peter's fault. That just has to happen in every universe where there's a Peter Parker. And she took this place, so sad. But I loved what Tobey said to Andrew, not to Andrew, what Tobey said to Tom, sorry, the names are very similar. What Tobey said to Tom, after Tom's all, she died for nothing and it was my fault, and he looked at her and said, maybe she didn't die for nothing. right? Because they all had somebody that close to them that died right after saying, with great power comes great responsibility. And that was a really cool exchange in the film that demonstrated the absolute moment, that had to happen, that she didn't die for nothing, that she died to make you a better Spider-Man. So go out there and make that a reality. Whew. Loved Andrew Garfield in this. Wish we'd see him again. You know, it's very possible that we will. Very possible that we will. With great power comes great responsibility. Uncle Ben, that's my line. I'm going to put some dirt in your eye. If Tom gets the symbiote, he has to do the Bully Maguire dance. I doubt he will do the Bully Maguire dance. Spider-Man has to fight someone while he has Venom as costume. Agree? I think we get a whole movie as Spider-Man Venom fusion. That would be fantastic. The conspiracy theory, Uncle Ben was part of Hydra. I feel like it's not going to be that deep. It's not that deep. Why did Toby say to Tom, "What is that?" when Tom said, "I was with the Avengers"? I mean, the #1 trailer of No Way Home, you saw 3 Spider-Man as Tony Stark grave, and he is an Avenger. Okay, so let's talk about this. It's interesting. The multiverse exists. We know that. But in these 2 universes, the Avengers didn't exist. When he goes, "Oh, I'm not trying to brag, but I'm part of the Avengers," Toby goes, "The Avengers? That's awesome. What are the Avengers?" You know, they didn't know who they were. And Andrew was like, "Were you in a band?" So the Avengers didn't exist in their universes. And then later on, during the post-credits scene, Tom Hardy, Venom, is sitting there going, "Wait, so you're telling me this entire universe is just superheroes? A Man of Tin, a green guy that gets really angry?" All of these characters didn't exist in their universe. Now, we know the MCU is the sacred timeline. We've learned that from Loki. But every multiverse isn't a carbon copy with some differences. There are places where Iron Man doesn't exist. There are places where Peter Parker doesn't exist. The symbiote obviously doesn't exist in the MCU because that's why they brought it over. So there's no Venom unless we're planning on getting a Venom versus Venom, which would be insane, and I don't think our brains could handle it. So it is interesting to see that, oh, the Avengers don't exist in every universe. Or, oh, Venom doesn't exist in every universe. Peter doesn't exist in every universe. Because they had no clue who the Avengers were. What was my reaction when Andrew saved MJ? You know, I actually was okay. I did fine. I knew it was coming, especially once you saw the glider and MJ needed help and Andrew jumped and it was awesome. I did completely fine. I kept it together. But then at the end, he's holding her. And she looks up at him and he's just trembling. His face is so sad. I lost it there, not gonna lie. I got really upset. It made me very sad. Because that moment, I'll remember the moment when Emma Stone's character died forever. That was so intense. That's something Sony did a very, very good job with the Andrew movies. It was so insane. It was insanely intense. But yeah, I held it all together right until he looked down at her and she's like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "Yes," but he's like dying in tears. Since Andrew and Toby came back, does that mean we will see Andrew in a future film such as Morbius and Toby in a Venom film? You know, it's very possible. I don't want to see Toby again. Not because I don't love Toby, but because I think his character should be done. So yeah. Taylor with another super chat. You thought Lethal Protector was a bad name. Yeah, 100%. That cracked me up. It was super, super funny. He's like, "Oh, the Hulk." And he went, "And you thought Lethal Protector was a bad name." I love Venom. I think they've done a very good job with Venom. Eddie does a great job. But Venom is hilarious. That's why I hope when the symbiote finally does find somebody, it is still Venom. Because he's being developed so well. Whew. What I want to know is why Electro there if he doesn't know who Spider-Man... What? I think he did. No, 100% knew who Spider-Man was. He takes off his mask in the Amazing Spider-Man and he says, "Look, it's me." Right? That happened. I think that happened. That had to have happened. I think that happens. I think Andrew takes off his mask at one point and tries to talk to Electro as a person and says, "Look, I see you. Stop murdering 1 million of people." What do you think about the rumor that Toby was supposed to die and there ended up being a reshoot, possibly them coming back? You know, it was funny. Part of me, for the longest time, and people who watch the channel a lot will know, I've been talking about how Toby was going to die because I thought it, not because I heard a plot leak or anything. I thought Toby was going to die just because it made the most cinematic sense. his sacrifice to save the other Spider-Man, whatever it was. And I was ready for it completely. And then when he got stabbed, it seemed like he was definitely going to die. I was like, I had accepted it because I already knew it was coming. But when he ended up not dying and just kind of making a joke like, yeah, I'm fine, I've been stabbed before, and then that kind of meant he was going to stay alive, I was very happy. Like, I was very happy knowing, you know, he's going to go back to MJ and maybe their kid and whatever, and they're going to live happily ever after. I believe my brother would use the term my head canon. Not Elliot, a different brother, who you've actually never met before. But yeah, it kind of settles the mind a little bit. So yeah. Do you think Miles Morales Across Spider-Verse is involved with No Way Home? No, I do not. Stop avoiding your question. I'm not avoiding your question. I'm not seeing it. There's a lot of people chatting. Be nice. And ask it again so I can see it. Alex, hi. How you doing? Can Venom explore the multiverse? Doesn't he have that ability? Maybe he does. That's what the hive mind is, kind of taking all of that information together. That's what I think. That's what I think. All right, you're getting timed out. My chat's already busy enough, and you're just spamming. You can come back in 300 seconds. All right. I timed him out. Why is he not timed out? Did I time out the wrong person? Oh, no, I did. Okay, there we go. Sorry. John Cena will play MCU Venom. That would be awesome. Will Tom Hardy be in the MCU? I do not believe Tom Hardy will be. Alpha Predator. Remember my last theory about Otto's arms? Locked from Nano. Yes, Alpha, and it was accurate. They were all accurate. He stole it, and then Peter said, I'm going to take that. How awesome was that? Doctor Strange said after the spell got spoiled, instead of everybody forgetting who Spider-Man was, it took in the sacred timeline everyone who knew who he was from other universes, but Electro didn't know. I already answered that. You giving me a hard time about a question I already answered. I believe Electro did know. I think Electro did know. What if Doctor Strange, Miles Morales, comes and sees Peter Parker and starts to break down in tears because his universe Spider-Man is dead, you know? That would be kind of crazy. Ned made the portal a little too easy. You know, a lot of people are saying that, but I think he's just going to be later down the road, a very powerful wizard. A very, very powerful wizard who obviously is a nerd. Obviously he's very, very smart and has seen how Doctor Strange does everything. So there it is. Trip Lawless. Just watched it a second time, and it has to be the best movie I've ever seen. You know, Trip, I'm glad that you enjoyed it, and I'm glad that you were able to have that experience. Definitely heard on the internet a lot of people who didn't have the same experience. But I think the people who were really into this movie and were in the right theater are easily calling this the best movie they've ever watched. Because the honest reality of it is. It's just so good. The experience that we had in the movie theater, that I've had twice in the movie theater now already, it was the best movie-going experience of my life. And it's hard to argue otherwise. Electro didn't know who Peter was, right? He knew Spider-Man only. I don't know. People are saying yes, people are saying no. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. Seeing it for the second time tonight. Fantastic. I'm glad for you. All right. The movie was as close to perfect as you can get. I agree, Joel. What is he doing? Just sitting in a room?
Yeah.
Because Louis trying to sleep up there.
He attacked.
He attacked you?
Yeah.
Oh, the cat?
Yeah.
Did he win?
No.
Who? The cat? Our cat lost?
No, he attacked us.
Oh, so he's all pissed off about something.
Yeah.
It's because I'm talking loud, I think. He hates that. My cat's being a bad boy, guys.
You should time him out.
I'm going to time him out. Do you know Darkhawk from the Marvel Comics? Yes. Y'all asking the same questions. Ask different questions. The scene where Tom Spider start to come in happy. Also ask them in proper grammar. Electro didn't know Peter because he didn't know he wasn't black. Well, no, I think they never talked after he took off his mask, so it could have just been him referring to him back in the original movie. Anything you wish the Spider-Man did or say or do? I think the pointing meme, although it was there, could have been better. It could have been more obvious. But at the moment, like, I got everything I wanted out of the movie. Which phone do I use? I have an iPhone. The green one. I'm pumped for Kraven the Hunter. If they do go for that, what do you think? I mean, they already have the role casted. It's, what's his name? Flash. Alex, look up Flash from Age of Ultron. Tell me the actor's name. I can't remember the name right now. He's playing Kraven, though. They've already casted him. I'm going to tell you the name in just a second. Aaron Taylor Johnson. I think it's Aaron Taylor Johnson is the name.
For some reason, I'm not on it.
I'm faster than Google, guys. Any other villains you've spotted in the multiversal break scene? I actually haven't had an opportunity to break it, to look it down just yet. One, it's hard to get footage, obviously, because it's anything that you see is leaked and fuzzy. Also, I haven't looked for that specific scene because there's a ton of different things to break down. But I heard Vulture, Scorpion, a few other characters were all up there as well. So, why did we only get the Sinister 5? Because it wasn't actually the Sinister anything. It was just 5 villains, and people thought that we were going to get the Sinister 6, but we didn't. It wasn't that at all. So it wasn't the Sinister 5. It was just 5 villains, and they didn't add one to make the Sinister 6. And I think maybe because down the road, maybe in the next trilogy, they want to do a proper Sinister 6 with 6 different characters. That would be cool, personally. What's my top 5 Marvel movie? I don't know. That's a hard one to ask. But Spider-Man is definitely in it. 100% No Way Home is definitely in it. Did I like the fact that Tom ends up making his own suit just like I loved it? You know, you think about it, Tom never had the opportunity to build one out of a sewing machine. He had his really crappy sweatsuit suit, which every Spider-Man had, and then they created a really awesome one. But he had Tony making him suits the whole time since. So he's had all these super intense suits. So it was really awesome to see him break out the sewing machine and make an awesome suit. Do you think the whole movie was a fan service? I don't think the whole movie was a fan service. There was definitely a lot of fan servicing in it. But what I've never understood is why people say fan servicing is a bad thing. I think studios that open their eyes a little bit and focus on what people want to see, I think that's clever. I think that's cool. I think that shows a studio that's in touch with its fan base. You know, like, oh, screw what the fans want. We're just going to put what we want. I think it's cool that they added the memes and the pointing meme and funny jokes and oh my back and stuff like that was fantastic. So the more of that, the better for me. I don't know why people see fan service as a negative connotation. Because critics say, oh, it's a bunch of fan service. Well, critics are idiots. Who cares what critics say? Trip, thank you for the $2 super chat where he says Spider-Man's new suit is so good, best suit. Yeah, it's probably, from what I saw, my favorite Spider-Man suit of all time. I 100% agree, and thank you for supporting the channel and me and my efforts and my endeavors. Do I think Ned's line, I promise I won't try to kill you, is a hint that Ned could be Venom? No, I actually think, and I hope that they go with the route of not making him a bad guy. I just don't think it's necessary. We've seen it so many times, we don't need it again. So did Doctor Strange break the multiverse or Loki? I think it's going to have been a combination of all of them. I think Wanda, Loki, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, everything they did is going to cause the actual multiverse of madness. Too many things going wrong at one time. Too many things going wrong at one time. What if Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, it's all just a dream? Well, that would be really stupid, and it's unlikely that that's the case. But good question. Do you think we will ever see Daredevil and Spider-Man helping each other? 100%. 100%. That's a buddy team up that everybody wants to see. And the fact that they brought Charlie Cox back and he did the whole cool, I'm a really good lawyer catching the brick thing, like, it's going to be awesome. Lizard was just thrown there and didn't really have any screen time. Yeah, Lizard and Sandman both really didn't get a lot of screen time at all. They just added to the whole motion of it. But I don't think that those were really characters that anybody particularly cared about. Like, comparatively to Green Goblin and Doc Ock, who probably had the most, well, not probably, had the most screen time, it was really hard to justify giving more to Lizard. Like, who cared? Nobody. Like, 6 people cared. Whew. I just tried to touch the screen of my computer. It's not touchscreen. Peter moved into his new place. He had a box and a GED book. Did he drop out or not graduate? I think he's moved into his college apartment. So I think he's going to be going to MIT, you know, with everybody. My assumption. Maybe he's not going to MIT, but he's going to go get his GED. He's a smart guy. He's just going to go to college. I think that was a hint that the next trilogy is going to be him in his college years. Now, whether that's somewhere wherever Ned and MJ are or it's something completely different, I don't know. But we'll have to wait and see specifically what the plans are for that. I feel like it's almost a guarantee if they bring MJ and Ned back, as weird as it will be, that those two will be dating. And it's going to be really awkward, kind of like how Harry was dating MJ at one point, but that was more malicious, whereas these two just won't remember Peter, and naturally, since they're friends, they're going to end up dating. So Peter's going to, like, remind him who he is, and then it's going to be like, oh, we're a couple. So it's like the awkward MJ, Ned, Peter triangle of love. Like, for sure, that's going to be super weird. Peter Parker doesn't exist. They forget about Spider-Man, just about him in general. No, they didn't. Yeah, exactly. Christopher, you're 100% right. They didn't forget who Spider-Man was. They forgot. They forgot who Peter was. So Spider-Man's a different character. The Avengers know who Spider-Man is. Happy knows who Spider-Man is. Just nobody knows who Peter is. So they don't know the identity of Peter or Spider-Man. Jake with the Fiver says, "I'm sure you answered this, but why is Strange wearing the necklace, Eye of Agamotto or whatever, for the Time Stone if he didn't have the stone?" You know, there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of things I could answer to this. It's all kind of assumption. I don't know the answer. There isn't one. So I'm just telling you what I would guess is he still is in charge of protecting the Time Stone even if there isn't one. And obviously there are multiple Time Stones and the Time Stone could reappear somehow. So assuming all of that, I'm just going to say in case the Time Stone was to return, he needs to be ready to protect it or collect it. So he's wearing part of his suit, which is the Eye of Agamotto, because his job was to protect the Time Stone in reality. So in case somehow it returns, he needs to be ready to contain it. That's my assumption. Hopefully that is good enough and worthy of your $5 super chat. Trip, thank you for the super chat, says, "Do you think we will ever see Spider-Man use Tony's tech ever in a new trilogy?" It's possible. But I'm going to say, I think moving into the new trilogy, we're going to be seeing a simpler Spider-Man. His first ever appearance was in Civil War. And then, you know, he's had Spider-Man suits made by Tony and Iron Spider suits, and he made one in Tony's Fabricator. I think we're going to see a more simple, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in the next trilogies. I don't even know if we'll get another team up with him. Maybe he won't show up in the Avengers again. I don't know. I do not know, but good question, and thank you for supporting the channel. Also, guys, make sure to check out my Twitter and my Instagram. The links are here. F it. I'll just drop them in the chat. If you want to see some pictures from the red carpet event I went to, which, yes, is the flex, they are on my Instagram. Go like them and follow me. And if you want to get up to date on major movie and television news in real time and not just wait for me to post a YouTube video, follow me on Twitter as well, where I'm posting all sorts of news, more than even I'm posting on YouTube because it's really easy to do. Also, become a member. Support the channel. A lot of people donating $5. Instead of donating $5, spend that $5 to become a member and get yourself some emotes as well. That would be really cool. Trying to grow the community, trying to grow with members and all that stuff. We got John, we got Jake, and many others who've been members for months now. So join that exclusive group of people and get yourself some emotes. Do you think Electro might be a variant from a very similar timeline? No, I think he was the exact one. It doesn't make sense to me how Tom's Spider-Man won't fight against Doctor Strange because in the mirror dimension, which clearly Doctor Strange controls, won the fight. I don't know. Spider-Man's smart. And Doctor Strange is relying on magic now. But Peter's sitting there like, it's just geometry. I'm good at geometry. And he does all the math thing. And I just don't think Doctor Strange was expecting it. That's all. Do I think Strange will become Sorcerer Supreme again? So technically, Doctor Strange was never the Sorcerer Supreme. He was going to become the Sorcerer Supreme. And then Wong ended up becoming the Sorcerer Supreme. I actually think that Wong being the Sorcerer Supreme means that he's going to die in Multiverse of Madness. So that he can become... So Doctor Strange can become it, right? I think Doctor Strange is going to end up becoming the Sorcerer Supreme, which means Wong is probably going to die. And it's going to be Doctor Strange's fault and all this junk, yeah. So, oh yeah, Jake's like a math major. Taylor Payne, welcome to community member. Thank you for joining the exclusive group and Enjoy the emotes that are custom made for the channel. Spam them all you want. Those are free to spam. Here's a bit of community or continuity error. How does Doc Ock and Sandman know that Norman is the Goblin? Norman's dying words are "Don't tell Harry." Isn't the world supposed to be in the dark about this? Maybe, but also maybe it ended up coming out. I don't know. Harry ended up finding out, didn't he? Right? So maybe after Harry found out, everybody found out. You gotta remember, years have passed, so who knows what information came out. Maybe Doc Ock always knew. Maybe everybody knew except Harry. I don't know that it's an error. I just think it's not necessarily been explained well enough. How come Andrew and Toby came into the MCU reality? Those who know Peter only came into the MCU reality. I mean, obviously he knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Right? Wouldn't you say Peter knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man? I feel like that makes sense. What's your thoughts on Venom leaving a bit of him behind? I think it's an obvious and clear setup for Venom in the next trilogy. I want to watch the movie again so bad, but my country is going into lockdown again, so everything is closing, so I can't. Well, that sucks. Super sorry to hear that. Back to the Avenger universe thing, Sandman was in an Iron Man comic, and he is an Avenger in that comic, but Sandman is a villain in the Spider-Man Tobey Maguire verse. Not really. I would say he's an anti-hero. He was a villain because he was angry and mad and trying to do bad things because he was upset. Once he had things explained to him, he became a good guy, and he was a good guy in No Way Home. All he wanted in No Way Home was to go back to his daughter. He didn't want to fight or cause problems. He just wanted to go home. He ended up protecting Tom Holland for a while there from Electro. Yeah, Sandman said Green Goblin died by getting impaled, and Otto died in the river with his machine. So that information seemed to be out there. John, thank you for the $1 dono. Many appreciations for your support always. You didn't say any sentences, so I'll fill one in there for you. Chris rocks. Thanks, John. Will there be another Venom film or Spider-Man film? Yes, and yes. There's one more Venom film and another Spider-Man trilogy led by Tom Holland, and probably other Spider-Man films as well, like an Andrew Garfield, Miles Morales, Gwen, Spider-Woman. There's a ton of stuff coming our way, guys. Do you think Tom's comic book accurate suit was inspired by and is an ode to the other Spider-Mans? 100%. That was my first thought when I saw it. Like, wow, he saw their spider suits that are just simple, handmade, sewed suits, and he ended up doing the same thing. 100% think that that's what that was. Would the Venom be different because it's his offspring, or do you think it's just going to be Venom? I hope it's just Venom, but Carnage kind of came from Venom, and he was different, so who knows? I thought it was really weird how Sandman just changed sides at the end, and he was a bad guy. He wasn't bad the whole movie, so I didn't get that. So Jake, it actually was explained perfectly. Sandman wanted to get the box so that he could go home and see his daughter. He didn't want to live in this universe. He wanted to be gone, and we saw that when he brought the other guys over to Happy's place, and he was like, "I just need you guys to get fixed so I can go home and see my daughter." Right? He wants everybody to play nice and be involved. So at the end, he's just trying to get the box so he can go back to his daughter, even if that means beating up Spider-Man to do it. He didn't care. Like, he didn't care about Spider-Man. Spider-Man and him were friends, but he wanted to go home and see his daughter. That's his priority. So the fact that that was taken away from him, he got angry and he started doing Sandman things again. He wasn't working with Electro and them. He was working against them. Electro and Green Goblin wanted to get the box to destroy it, which they ultimately did. But Sandman wanted to get the box so he could push the button and go home to see his daughter. So he wasn't a bad guy. He was just motivated to get the box. He wasn't joined with Electro and them. They were all fighting against each other the whole time as well. What happened to the Sokovia Accords? Honestly, after the blip and everything, who knows? Like, none of that really stuck, I don't think. Do I think the last fight between Spider-Man and Goblin was disappointing? No, I thought it was fantastic. It was super cool. Trip, thank you for the super chat. Do you think Tom will remember what Toby said to him about Venom when Tom meets Venom? That would be kind of cool to see. I kind of hope he does. Actually, that's a good thought. Mike Hill, thank you for the super chat. I think MCU Venom will be Flash Thompson. That could definitely be a possibility. He plays a character called Agent Venom, who's a good version of Venom. He has control over the Venom suit, and he's able to do good things. I think he actually works in the military as Venom in the comic series. Maybe we'll see an iteration of that. But I feel like there's got to be an Eddie Brock somewhere in the MCU that's going to end up getting it, right? Thanks for answering that question. I'm not sure which question, John, but you're welcome. Theory, either the Black Tarantula or Beetle might be the next villain in Spider-Man 4. I mean, you would have to think it has to be Venom, though, right? I did not realize how strong Goblin was. Yeah, Goblin was awesome in this film, guys. Absolutely killed it. Yes, the Scorpion Tail, Rhino, Vulture, they were all up in the sky during that scene, so super cool. Would you like to see Spider-Verse film with Tobey, Andrew, and Tom? If so, do you think they will do it? No, I think I'm satisfied. I don't think I need more. So I'm going to say no. Can we talk about how Tom kept punching Goblin and all he did was laugh? Everyone in my theater was like, yo. Yeah. There's one scene in the condo when he's punching him. He just looks up with his little goblin face and laughs. That was pretty terrifying. Absolutely kind of terrifying. Do I feel bad for Tom? I mean, yes, obviously. I knew he wasn't going to tell MJ because that's the big, huge Spider-Man conundrum is should I date MJ because she's going to die loving me? So it was kind of obvious that he wasn't going to end up telling her. Hopefully she does come back and they end up telling her again. I agree. Willem Dafoe did an amazing job. Oh, he did better than he usually did. Oh, of course, John. No problem about the Soviet Accords question. I love the movie, but hated that they how they closed out Charlie Cox. He could have been vital. Apart from that, I was satisfied 120%. You know, we knew that he was only going to be in there as a lawyer and he was going to be in there briefly. This was his first appearance, and it happened the week. Technically, it happened after Kingpin showed up. So I saw the world premiere, which happened before the Hawkeye episode. But all of you guys saw the world premiere, not the world premiere, the Daredevil, not the freak, the American premiere, where Charlie Cox was out after Kingpin. So I think they were trying to do that at the same time so that you could see Kingpin and Charlie Cox are coming back, recasting as their characters, kind of starting over on a clean slate. So I think that was just kind of an introduction to that. And we're definitely going to get more information. Daredevil's going to show up in 4 projects. So Echo, a solo project, and I think I heard actually he's going to be in She-Hulk. And then Spider-Man. Even though he barely showed up in Spider-Man, it was more of a cameo. He was there. And we're going to get more from Daredevil, so don't worry about that. Okay. This was the craziest fight scene when he was kicking and throwing Spidey through walls and floors. Tom was pulling his punches, but not at the end. Yeah, it was pretty crazy, you know. That whole fight scene was very well done. And then at the very end when they fought again, it was very well done. The raw anger and the problems, super cool. Super, super cool. I think they should have let us see... Ah! My cat just got me, guys. He's a little grumpy right now. 1 second, guys. We gotta get him in a room. Gotta go to timeout. Oof! Somebody go and see that and laugh at me. He jumped up and scratched me in the neck. Oof! And change his name to Daredevil. Can I get a paper towel, please? Bad cat. Spray it with water. Yeah. Problem is he likes water, so that's not going to do anything. I'm not sure what his problem is. He's in a bad mood today. He's been all day in a bad mood. But we flew him across the country, and he's a little grumpy about it sometimes. So, but he couldn't stay at home alone because we were gone for a couple weeks. Ouch, that hurt. Do you think there will be any mention of Spider-Man No Way Home in Hawkeye Episode 6? No, I don't. I don't think so. You're just watching it over and over, Jake? Very nice of you. Thank you. Yeah, my cat was mad. He doesn't like... So, my cat hates my YouTube voice. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, when I go into my office... When I go into my office and I start recording, you know, the whole, hey, everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to... Like, it's really loud and deep. And when I talk here, I talk really loud and deep so you can hear me clearly, and it's like a YouTube persona that I've created. He hates it. He hates the voice. It makes him mad. I feel like he thinks I'm challenging him or yelling at him, and he doesn't like it. So as I'm sitting here with my YouTube voice talking, he's over there being bad and misbehaving. He's down here attacking me. It's super, super weird. All right, guys. This chat went on even longer than usual. I try to keep these to an hour. We're at 75 minutes, but so many people were here asking questions. We were having a really good chat. Your cat hates your YouTube voice. Haha, that makes sense. Yeah, I bet it doesn't, but it also does, I promise. My cat hates my YouTube voice. It's just deep and loud, and he might actually have some special needs, not gonna lie. And that's not a joke, that's serious. So yeah, get in your last comments, your last questions, your last super chats, whatever you want to do. I don't want to miss any, so get them in now. We'll finish this poll. Jake says, well, I like your YouTube voice, Chris, so you're not going to attack me if I ever meet you? All right, get in your last questions. I'm going to drop some links. Go follow these places for me. Follow me on Instagram. Check out my world premiere pictures. Follow me on Twitter, because I post a lot of stuff on Twitter, too. Yeah, Taylor, I'll have to let you know. We're very busy, and I actually don't have a car while I'm here in Florida, but I will let you know. I will definitely text you at some point on Instagram to let you know about that. Okay, beta males don't follow Chris. Beta males? Only beta males don't follow Chris. Yeah, so if you don't follow me, you're a beta male. Yeah, whatever beta male is, that's what you are.
Not alpha.
You're a beta male. You think there will be an Amazing Spider-Man 3. There could be an Amazing Spider-Man 3 for sure. 100% a possibility. Whew. I'm still coming down for getting attacked. I'm bleeding a lot. Alright. Follow those things. My Instagram, my Twitter. Everybody who super chatted and became members today, thank you so much. Your support means that I can keep doing this and that we can do Culture Catch-Up every week. Next, is Christmas on Saturday?
Yes, in 1 week.
I will not be doing Culture Catch-Up next week. I'm taking the day off. It's Christmas. Get over it. It's also my birthday. Maybe I will do it. So I get extra super chats. No, I'm just kidding. That sucks. I can't do like a birthday stream because it's Christmas and nobody wants to watch it.
Do it the day before.
And not a real birthday stream. That's
Why
fake.
not?
Because it's not my birthday. My birthday's on Christmas. Next week's Christmas, guys. Everybody have a good Christmas. If you don't celebrate Christmas, have a good 25th of December. Well, you can still have a good Christmas even if you don't celebrate it. Thanks for being here, Chris. We love you. It was fun. Well, I have a live stream. Supposedly I have a live stream on Tuesday night for the Hawkeye finale, so I'll see you then. And then that'll be my last stream before I turn into a 26-year-old. Getting old. All right, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye. Thank you so much for joining. Been a fun chat. New members, thank you. And I'll see you guys on the next one right here.